What are you working on?
Michaela Burger, what are you working on?
Dave Brown. I'm working on a new show for the Adelaide Fringe called The Day I Met Michael Jackson or The Day I Met MJ, 90s hits. But I was saying to you earlier that I feel like I'm always working on something, that my brain's always creating, and whether I'm driving the car or walking on the beach or whatever, I'm always coming up with songs or melodies or show concepts that never ever come to being, or inventions. Sometimes I have inventions that have already been invented 20, 30 years ago. I said to my husband, "Oh my God, what if this happened and this?" And he's like, "Pretty sure that already exists." So that's how my brain's constantly creating, and yeah.
When were you first aware of it? I mean, were you the sort of kid that did shows in the backyard in the chicken shed?
Yes, 100%. Well, we grew up in Cooper Pedy, so we did shows in the freezer in my parents' supermarket, and in the back room and the depot and like all sorts of places. I always remember playing, like creatively playing different scenarios, and always dramatic, always wanted to be a dramatic actress. But from very young, I don't remember not having the desire to create and make things. I was writing music from very bad songs, but from very, very young, I was writing songs. And actually, I see it in one of my nephews. He's only 9, and he's similar since about age 6. He's making up songs on the piano, and I thought, oh, maybe that's what I was like. Just it was just always there. So the Edith show, the first kind of big show that I did in Adelaide, in Australia, actually, and then it went to Edinburgh and New Zealand, and um, that was out of necessity, to be honest. I'd been overseas for 8 years, and I came back to Australia, and I couldn't get auditions for any of the professional companies, and I had done a lot of cabaret before, so I knew that world from like maybe when I was 19 or 20. And so I was like, oh, I suppose I just got to create my own show.
Hmm.
And that's how it started. And I'm actually really grateful. I began going, well, this has to be my trajectory, because I'm not getting work and I want to be a performer. I want to do this. Um, so then that Edith show gave me enough kind of recognition and weight to then apply to festivals, and they knew who I was. So it's a long game, this industry, isn't it? And that actually, I think I auditioned for Patch. That's when I worked for you in that period after Edith, maybe. So the Edith show actually did open up lots of opportunities, just by me doing my own thing. And I had, you say I produced my own shows. I had no idea. Like, I was just like, well, I got to sell tickets and do flyers and posters and websites, and it's so much for someone who just wants to create and perform, to also put on that producing hat. So it was a lot of work back then. I mean, I remember being um, answering emails at 2 3 a.m., doing applications and ringing festivals left, right and center. And it was a lot. It was worth it, but it was for someone who I didn't know anything about producing or I would just ring these venues and go, hi, I've got this show, we've won an award. And they're like, okay, send a link. And it was so raw and innocent in a way, which probably helped. But yeah, that was my first kind of, and to be honest, I still do not enjoy producing. I don't,
Hmm.
I've got a producer now for this show and for Migrant Son and stuff, and she's fantastic, because I got to a point where I was like, it's not my forte. I do it out of necessity. So I prefer to be able to focus on the shows and the creating, and not having that pull of how many tickets have I sold? Who are my special guests tonight? Is the reviewer coming tonight? All this kind of stuff that you're thinking 2 seconds before you go on for your first show. You're thinking, did that reviewer come? Oh, hang on, I've got to come. Oh no, that person who's on the door list, their name isn't on the door, and they're texting me saying I didn't get my ticket. It's like, if you think of all of that on top of presenting a new show, on top of having written something, it's a lot.
Has it actually become easier, or is it still like that?
Look, I think if we took COVID out of the equation, I think yes. I think I'd be going, oh yeah, Dave, it's amazing. It's all falls into place. I'm very lucky. Before COVID, I was full time. Like I was doing touring with theatre company, like with Patch. I was doing touring with theatre companies and touring my own shows and writing new shows, and I was like booked out for the whole year. That was like for about 2 or 3 years. It was just, and then COVID hit, and it just kind of pulled this pin. So the last few years have been quite tricky, if I'm honest. Like it's been quite, their work hasn't been coming in. I've been really generating a lot of my own stuff. The way it hasn't changed is there's still so much we don't get paid for. Like if I'm working for a few weeks on admin and this and that, I'm not getting paid for that. It's like this Fringe, we've been working on it now for 2 or 3 months, the producer and I, both of us unpaid, and we are taking the risk. So if we don't sell enough tickets, we would have done like months of work, and everyone else gets paid. The musicians, the venue, Fringe gets paid, the poster people. And then, so we're just going, well, let's see what happens.
The hours you donate in order to do what you love. It's almost like you have to pay for the privilege of being an artist.
Yeah. And I know people laugh at that and go, oh, that's not true, but it is true. It is, I think, at the moment I'm in negotiation with a job that I've done, and they are wanting to give me about a quarter of what it's worth. And it's happened actually recently, last 6 months, with a few jobs, that they're saving money on the artists. Everyone else gets paid, but they're saying to us, oh, this is a low budget thing. Can we just give you ... And we're like, well, yes, because we need the money, and you'll find someone else very easily. But it is a dilemma. Yeah, the privilege to perform.
Well, yeah, and the notion of what is my art worth? So all of these other people are getting paid, but they're not going to get paid unless the artists are producing work for them to present. So it's such a dilemma that the artist is the least empowered and really at the bottom of the pile. Do you see any way through that?
The time you are taking, the effort you're making to manifest something, whatever it be. The question I'm asking in this little song is, what are you working on? What are you working on?
Hey, we'd love you to check out our sevenworld.org in the process of making podcast. Available on all your favourite podcast platforms and from the website.
Listen if you dare until the story's done.